Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video I'm going to see if it's possible to kind of do a bit of rejuvenation on this Honda 400 Supersport tank. I'm not sure how well I can get it to come back up. Belongs to a friend of mine who's also a collector, and he asked me to see if I could just paint it and re-decal it because it's going to be a display tank. It's not going back on a bike. But just at a first glance, like there's no major dents in it. There are some scuffs and scratches, but I would rather see if I can kind of cut and polish and buff it and, you know, wax it up and shine it up and whatnot. If it's just going to be a display tank, I don't want to spend his money on paint and decals if I can get it looking pretty decent and displayable with just a kind of a good cut and polish and wax and whatnot. So that is going to be the plan for today, and let's see how well we can get this thing to come back to life. So let's just sort of take a closer look at this, what we've got here before I start wiping it down and cleaning it. It looks kind of chalky right here. This is from a paint finish perspective. This might be kind of the worst of it. And then there's scratches everywhere, marks and whatnot on it down here. But it would be nice to be able to get it to come back to a point where it's all original paint, and you know, at least good enough to display. If it was going back on a bike and it was going to be a bit of a showpiece on a bike, that'd be a whole different story. But if it's going to be on the shelf, then yeah, I'd rather not spend his hard-earned money on paint and decals and labor and time and primer and all of that kind of stuff, because it adds up quick these days, the price of paint. So if I can do it this way, and if he's happy with that, then that'd be great. So I'll get it the best I can, then he can decide if that's good enough for what he wants, and then we'll go from there. But I mean, a couple of tiny dings. There's a little dent right there that I might be able to pull with my dent puller, paintless dent removal. There's a little one there. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get that out, but again, for a display tank, let's see what we can do. All right, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean off. I don't know what kind of stuff is on here, so I'm just going to use some cleaner, brake cleaner and whatnot on it. Let's see what we get. There's not a lot coming off. So whatever's on here is kind of ingrained in the paint, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of dirt on there, but really not a lot. Whatever it is kind of, this top of the tank is quite bad. But let's see what we can get with some cutting compound and the buffer. All right, so this is the compound that I'm using. Cutting compound, and basically the whole idea is I'm going to wet this foam pad. I don't know how good these foam pads are. This is the first one I bought. It wasn't expensive. I've heard mixed stories on them. Some of them work well, other ones seem to disintegrate prematurely, but we'll give it a go. Just make sure that don't push down too hard. So I'm just putting little dabs of this stuff on there, and start off and see what we get. Take a look here at what we got. Starting, I mean, some spots are starting to come a little bit better. I suspect that the clear coat on this tank is kind of starting to come off the top. So you can see right here how it's kind of nice and yellow. Right in the middle here, it looks kind of faded, chalky, and there's some brighter spots kind of showing through there. So I suspect that the I don't know if somebody sprayed something on top of this, or if is it possible maybe that the original clear coat is cracking off, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try to take a closer look to see if I can figure that out. If there's still clear coat there, this might be something that's been sprayed on top, and maybe I can take some 3000 and try and take that off. That might work. I'm gonna try a little bit with this. I've got a foam pad with 3000 grit paper on it on my wet DA here. I'm going to do a little bit just to see what I get here. Certainly seems to have taken some of the chalky stuff off. Let's give it a little bit more. Just got to be careful I don't go too far. Yeah, it's the original clear coat actually that is coming off there, because now I've got a little bit of yellow on here. So that's not ideal for sure, but let's see what we get if we put a bit more compound on here. So it's, you know, it's coming up a little bit. certainly on the sides of the tank it's looking a bit better. I do have some yellow paint to match this. I'm wondering if once I've got this all kind of cleaned up, if I could touch up some of these scratches and then put a bit of clear coat in there, and just to see how that kind of evens it up a little bit. Shouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think. I've seen it done on YouTube. How hard can it be? All right, so there's the right side. And like I said, there's like that kind of thing. That's a paint chip. There's a lot of different little chips in the paint here and there, but a lot of the marks have come out. I'm going to go at this a little bit more. I'm just trying to make sure I don't go, too far. There are a number of dents in here. There's one, you can see it right there. I'll be able to pull that out. There's a dent right here by the D. That one, I'm not sure if I've got a problem with this. Trying to pull this is using the hot glue that I have. It's possible that it could peel the decal off, which I don't want to do. It depends if I've got a pulling tab that's small enough to fit where the paint is there. But a little dent there. I might be able to pull some of that out. All right, so this is the color match paint. I used this paint a number of videos ago, and I did some Honda Super Sport 400 side panels for another friend. So there's a little bit of paint left over. The problem with yellow paint is it's notoriously difficult to cover. So what I'm doing here, I just sort of poured a little bit out into this measuring cup, and I think I'm just going to let it sit for a bit. It'll start to kind of thicken up. And once it thickens up sufficiently, as it dries, I'll kind of use this little tiny brush here to dab it on. I've kind of cut the hairs down on it, so it's pretty fine. And then hopefully that I can get in to some of the chips and the scratches a little bit with that yellow paint. Once the paint's dried off, I'll do the same with some clear coat. I do have a little bit of clear coat left here, an activator, so we can see how that works out. And then we'll go from there. We'll just kind of pick away at this, and then my buddy can have a look at it, and then he can decide from there whether or not that's kind of what he wants from a display tank. Or if he wants me to completely repaint the whole thing and new decals and whatnot. I think, to be honest, it's kind of nice to have like a more original tank with a bit of patina on it, especially for display. But that is not up to me. Try not to kick the camera. Jeez. Still would like it if this paint was a little bit thicker. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to fill in these chips and marks with the yellow paint a little bit, wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to hand sand with some 3000 just to knock off any of the kind of the high spots where the paint, because some of these scratches are so small, the paint is going to flow over onto the original finish, not just on the scratch. And if I use some 3000 wet on here, my hope is that I can take the paint off where the yellow paint is and just leave the paint where the scratch is. So that's the plan, and that should help kind of disguise a number of the marks and the blemishes on here. All right, so this is the get a bit of a better close-up shot here. The second coat on this scratch. Just got to make sure the brush is loaded up enough that it goes on wet, because I'm not spraying it. You may find that you end up dragging the previous coat of paint off, because it's easy to pull off when you put the next wet coat of paint on, right? Because the other thing that occurs to me as I do this is, down the road, if this was me owning this tank, as OCD as I could be. I think to put it on the shelf, it also maybe has a little bit more value if it's kind of got its original finish on it. If this ever was to get sold to somebody years down the road, I think there's potentially much more value in an original tank with a little bit of patina, where somebody can clearly see that it's not been filled, or you don't know what's underneath the paint. So personally, I think that could doing it this way potentially adds a little bit more value to it. All right, see if we can get a few of the dents out of this. It's already starting to work quite well. So if I can get a closer shot of this. I don't know if you can see the dent coming out of this or not. Well, that actually came up pretty much all the way out in one pull, which is really good. So I'm going to just start to wet sand a couple of the spots that I filled the paint in. Let's see if I can get that cleaned up a little bit. All right, let's see if I can get this dent out of this tricky spot between the decals. The good news is it's not pulling the decal off, so that's good. Remove the glue, you just use alcohol and it pops right off. Alright, so there it is. Most of the dents are out. And took out a lot of the blemishes and whatnot. There's still, obviously it's not perfect, there's still some patina on there, but generally speaking, I think it looks quite presentable. There we go. One more little dent there that I think I'm going to take another run at, like right up in that corner. But aside from that, I think we'll call it good, and see what my buddy thinks, if he wants to leave it like that or if he wants to have it all stripped and completely redone. Thanks for watching.